very good afternoon to Mr. Charles, Mr. Chua, and my fellow classmates. For today's contextual studies class, my friends Jim, Daryl, Carla, and I will be giving a presentation on our first assignment, which is finding a research problem. So to start, I'll be talking briefly about what this assignment is about by sharing to you guys a few steps to finding a research problem. So the first step is to make as many observations as you can from the text or the story that you were given, and from there you can locate the underlying problem, like look for loopholes or anything that doesn't make sense in the story. Next is to ask yourself critical questions, like why does the plot play out this way? Couldn't there be an alternative, better way to end the story? And finally, make up a bunch of theories and hypotheses from your observations and critical questions to shed some light to the plot and give you a better understanding on the context of the story. So I'll pass the time to my friend Jim.
Now I'll be talking about James Thurber, the author of The Rabbit Who Caused All the Trouble. So he's an American author.
Hold on.
Yes.
I think now every group is going to give introduction to James Thurber. It's going to drag the time. You can skip the intro or James Thurber. I think you're already familiar with that. Okay,
now
go
I'll
straight
pass
to
it to
Daryl.
Daryl.
So I'll be explaining the breakdown of story. Okay, so there are three characters, which are the wolves, the rabbits, and other animals. So at first, the wolves did not like the way the rabbits were living because they believed that their way was the only way to live. Then the wolves claimed that the rabbits were causing natural disasters such as lightning strikes and earthquakes. And the wolves started to threaten the rabbits, which made them want to leave to a desert island. But when the other animals found out about it, they convinced the rabbits to stay because they said that there is no place in this world for escapists and that they will come to their aid. But they never did, so the rabbits continued to live. Eventually, the other animals realized that the rabbits were more quiet than usual, so when they asked the wolves what happened, they said that the rabbits were eaten for their own good. Sorry, the rabbits were eaten because they were trying to escape. And the common phrase that's repeated throughout this passage is, there's no place in this world for escapists. And the moral of the story is, run, don't walk to the nearest desert island.
Alright, so for the review of the story, we've come up with a few observations and problems. So for the first observation is that we know that the wolves blamed the rabbits for all the natural disasters that occurred around them. And the problem here is that it's irrational because rabbits are just animals that doesn't have enough power to create an earthquake or a lightning strike since they were made by God and they're not God themselves. Yeah. Okay. And the next observation is that other animals assured the safety of the rabbit if they were ever to come across any harm. But the problem is that they only showed concern, their real concern, when no news was heard about the rabbits for a really long time, which was a last minute thing. Yeah. And the third observation is that the wolves stayed living next to the rabbits despite facing casualties. And the problem is that if you are living next to someone who's always giving lots of trouble and disasters to you, to the point that your pack of wolves die, it's natural for you to move to a safer zone or an area, yet they stayed there. Okay, so for the final observation is that the wolves imprisoned the rabbits in a dark cave and they had been eaten. But the problem is that the rabbits, when they were being harmed, and being taken into a dark cave. They didn't, if the wolves were true, they didn't summon up like an earthquake to defend themselves so that they wouldn't get harmed and they could protect their species.
Not summon, isn't it? I mean, they didn't physically do anything. It was supposed to be a physical action of the rabbits, right?
Oh yeah, like they
They
didn't.
used the word summon.
They
They
didn't
didn't like
create.
Call.
Cause.
call.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Cause and earthquake.
Okay, cause. Yeah.
So we've come up with a couple of hypotheses. The first one being if the wolves were true, the rabbits have superpowers and the wolves and the other animals are mortals, they don't have powers. So the wolves seek help from the other animals to ambush and plan an attack against the rabbits because apparently the rabbits seemingly don't know how to control their powers since everything they do, they just cause disaster. So the wolves decided to imprison the rabbits in a dark cave. And when the wolves killed too many of the rabbits, the other animals realized what they'd done, but it was too late to do anything about it.
And the second hypothesis is that the wolf hated the rabbit from the start, and also the other animals is also afraid of the wolf, so that the other animal convinced the rabbit to stay when the rabbit was escaping, so that the rabbit can satisfy what the say is. It means something like satisfied. It's like something. It means something like satisfied.
What's that word called? SATE. Is that a word?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right. It is actual word.
Yes. Yeah, so the other animals convince the rabbit to stay so that they can satisfy. So to satisfy the wolf hate, and eventually there were nothing was heard from the rabbit for a long time, and other animals want to find out what happened to them, and the wolf explained that the rabbit, this is like the rabbit's internal matter.
Alright, so moving on to our similar stories. At first we came up with a bunch of analogies to help us understand better the clear picture of the original story, which is the rabbits. So we related it to a high school kind of drama where there are bullies kind of thing. And so eventually it became a story of its own. And because it's too long, we break it down to comparative way of analysis. We'll leave it to Karma.
So I'll be reading this part, and I'll be reading that part to compare the two stories. So here are the characters, wolf and rabbit.
So basically the wolves are the bullies who are like rich but then they didn't do well in class and then they don't have a happy life also. And meanwhile the rabbits are like the weak kids. They are poor but then they have a happy life and then they always like get good grades and everything.
And at the start the wolf announced that they did not like how the rabbit is living.
And so obviously the bullies envy the life of the weak kids.
And after that, the wolf started blaming the rabbit for something very unreasonable, like natural disasters.
And the bullies start to spread like nasty and fake rumors about the weak kids.
And the wolves threatened to civilize the rabbit if they didn't behave. And the rabbit decided to run away to the nearest desert island.
And then the bullies threatened to hurt the weak kids if they didn't behave. And so the weak kids are scared and they want to move to a new school.
So the other animals assured the rabbits that they will come to help them, but they never came out.
So basically the other animals are the teachers. And the teachers know about this, and so the teachers told the weak kids that they don't have to move to a new school. They say that they will help them if something happens, but in the end they didn't. And
while the rabbits were living near the wolves, a flood happened to them, which caused them to blame the rabbits as they did during the other occurrences.
So because the teachers didn't have them, the rumors got worse, and so they get bullied more. So they cannot hold it anymore. So they stand up for themselves. They speak up the truth, and then it affected the bullies because the truth is like out.
Then the wolves imprisoned the rabbits in a dark cave for their own good protection.
Because of that, the bullies start to blackmail the weak kids to shut them up.
Right. So the the other animals questioned the wolves about the whereabouts of the rabbits, and the wolves replied that the rabbits had been eaten and it was purely an internal matter.
So after the rabbits are quiet, then the teacher start to ask the bullies like what happened, and then the bullies say that now they're not bullying the weak kids anymore. Now the other students are the one who bullied them, so they say it's none of their business anymore.
So the other animals kept questioning, and the wolves finally said that they were trying to escape, and as you all know, this is no world for escapists.
And yeah, so the bullies tell the teacher that the weak kids are trying to escape from accusations, but you cannot undo what you've done, even though it's false accusations.
The moral of the story is that you should run and don't walk to the nearest desert island.
Yeah, so move to a new school and start clean slate.
Another story that we related this to is Animal Farm by George Orwell. So basically, it's around the same concept that they use animals as metaphors for a certain event. In this case, they used farm animals to represent communism in Russia. So, like, there's a lot of similarities, such as the pigs in Animal Farm is like the wolves in the story, where they control over the animals. And in this case, the rabbits in this story are the farm animals. Yeah. And our big problem is, why did the rabbits live near the wolves in the first place? Because rabbit and wolves are like prey and predator. When you think about it, why would you live next to your predator?
Is it the same as why are the weak students in the same school?
Yeah, they should have just moved out.
They could have just moved to a different school, but why are they still there? Very good, very good. You're already starting to make very interesting comparisons here. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, what do you think, John? Yeah, I think it's very clear.
Say.
Oh, it's safe. Can you believe it? They say something.
So now you believe that teachers don't know everything, right?
Maybe just
Why
because
teachers
it's a transfer.
It's called word power. Some of them are much more well ranked than us. So, well done.
Not that, not that.
Good job. Okay. So I think it's pretty clear for what you guys need to proceed to do. I think I really like your comparison with Animal Farm, and I like how you broke down some key events of the story compared to the bullies, the analogy. But I still need you to make a choice. You have your main problem here, the main problem question, which is why the rabbits living near the wolves in the first place. Like, that's probably the highlight of your main problem question. Kind of like your choice. Then again, I may be wrong, because you also have the issues of the comparative study with Animal Farm. That's a potential for you to analyze. Another one is the bully. The bully is the analogy in the same school. So maybe there's a connection between this question with those events. So you need to discuss that, and you need to narrow down a specific direction. Which one are you going to take to the next assignment? Because the next assignment, you need to analyze one of these directions, and then eventually move on to prototyping. Okay? So it's going to get more exciting for everyone soon. All right?
At the end of the day, you guys are designers, right? So metaphors, I mean, can you see that there's a possibility for applications that the metaphors, you know, like some of you did a very beautiful slides using actually art and design strength to present your issues. I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, I don't see that spreading out laterally to other designs, but I do see the strength in potential study. These two parts, yeah.
I think, yeah, he's right, Choi's right. I agree. The design value, the visual values here represent strong design values. So I think, yeah, I think I don't want to talk so much. I think it's just good work. Right? So proceed. Thank you. All right. Anyone